unveiling of his statue, then capped off the celebration with a win over the Nats. Veteran Ryan Dempster gets the call today as the Cubs try to take their third consecutive series. Daytime baseball is next. No better place in the world to be on a sunny summer afternoon than the great city of Chicago, and we're set for a matinee of Cubs baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet. The Cubs wrap up a 6-game homestand. It's the rubber game today against the Nationals. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The Cubs come in having won 8 of their last 10, and we're going to take a look at a little offense here lately.
It's not hard to figure out why the Cubs have won 8 of their last 10. They've been slugging the living daylights out of the ball. Over their last 8, when they've had an 8-2 record, they've hit .285. 19 home runs in the 8 game by 11 different players, really spreading the wealth up and down the lineup.
And speaking of spreading the wealth, the Cubs did that last night with the long ball. You can't count on Ramirez and Pena every night.
Yeah, great night last night for Reed Johnson, a home run. Giovanni Soto with a home run of his own, and Soriano had a home run and a double, but I think the key at bat in the game for him was his last time up when he drew a walk against a very tough pitcher.
And for Reed Johnson, 4 for 4, and he's in the lineup again today. Ryan Dempster for the Cubs, right-hander. Jordan Zimmerman goes for the Nationals. And now, our national anthem.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So today in this makeup game, the Cubs try to end this homestand at 4-2. Beautiful day for baseball, and we'll have all the action for you right here on CSN. Hovercraft. Saved up our money as we get you set for baseball today. And this game not on your pocket schedule because of the Monday rainout. That's why we're here this afternoon. But there's nothing better than a 1:20 start here at Wrigley Field.
Boy, especially on a day like this, Lynn. Crystal clear blue skies, sun shining, very cool temperatures, wind blowing in off the lake from right field. Should be a good pitcher's day here at Wrigley if you can keep the ball down to the right-handed pull hitters.
The pitchers have done well in this series so far. Just 10 runs combined in the first two games. Washington winning Tuesday night 3-1. The Cubs coming back with a 4-2 decision last night. And it might have been my favorite day of the season. It's been a tough year, but the Ron Santo statue unveiling and then a crisp Cubs 4-2 win. What a day.
Yeah, nice clean ball game last night. Obviously the offense gets a lot of the credit. The 3 home runs by Soto, Johnson, and Soriano, but a very well pitched game also. Rodrigo Lopez doing what he needed to do, got the team into the 6th inning, and then the bullpen absolutely slammed the door on the Nationals after that.
Waiting for the Cubs to take the field behind Ryan Dempster. Their opening day starter has had a lot of success in his career against this Washington ball club going back to their days in Montreal.
22 total games against the Nationals, 14 starts. He's 8-1 with an ERA under 3 at 2.97. Really the only guy in the Nationals lineup that has had any measure of success against Ryan Dempster in his career is third baseman Ryan Zimmerman, who's 5 for 13. That figures out to a 385 batting average.
Quite sure what the delay is at the moment. As the home plate umpire Alan Porter's kind of looking over at the dugout saying, you guys ready?
It looked like Ryan Dempster warmed up a little longer than he normally would. It was kind of late getting back to the dugout, probably putting on a dry t-shirt right now, getting ready to take the mound.
Well, let's get the umpires for today. I mentioned Alan Porter is working the plate. Rob Drake is at first base. The crew chief Gary Darling is at second. And Bruce Dreckman is over at third. And here come the Cubs behind Ryan Dempster. That gives us a chance to look at the Washington Nationals Southwest starting lineup. Rick Ankiel starts it in center. Danny Espinosa is at second. He struggled here in the second half. Ryan Zimmerman working on an 18-game hitting streak. Michael Morse is at first. Jason Worth homered last night. He's in right. Lance Nix his first and only start in the series in left. The shortstop's Ian Desmond. Wilson Ramos behind the plate for Jordan Zimmerman.
And let's take a look at the Cubs defensively today, brought to you by Degree, Soriano, Bird, and Johnson once again across the outfield, left to right. Ramirez and Castro will be on the left side of the infield. Barney and Pena on the right side. Backup catcher Coy Hill getting the nod behind the plate today, and he'll be receiving pitches from our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher Ryan Dempster. Appearing in his 349th game with the Cubs today. That's 10th most all-time among Chicago pitchers.
So he tries to get his 10th win of the year. This is a kind of game, Bob, it's a swing game. I mean, if you lose, you go 3-3 on the homestand, and it mitigates all the good baseball last week. If you win it, you go 4-2. You win 3 consecutive series for the first time all year. It'd be nice to see this team get on a sustained roll after the 7-game winning streak last week.
And a sustained roll, you're going to lose some ball games. You know, we talked about it going all the way back to the beginning of the season. Ideally, your goal is to just win series. Take 2 out of 3, take 3 out of 4, split a 2-game series. I don't think it's any secret that there's very much parity in baseball right now. Every team has the ability to jump up and win a game. They've all got good starting pitching. Some teams have great bullpens. Just win series. A good habit to get into here at the end of a long season for the Cubs.
Ankiel 2 for 7 with a walk and a double in the series. Leads it off and takes a sinker on the outside corner for strike one. That one also caught the corner at 90. And just like that, 0-2. Ankiel just 2 for 13 against Ryan Dempster in his career. .74 degrees and a 9-mile-an-hour wind out of the east. It's coming directly off the lake.
Kind of an odd outing for Ryan Dempster last time out against the Reds. He went 6 innings, gave up only 4 hits and 2 runs. However, he walked 6 Reds batters.
Wow, what a knockdown by Dempster. He keeps the ball out of center field and he gets Rick Ankiel. That's the second play he's made here in the last, I would say, 3 starts. Didn't Ryan Braun hit a rocket back at him in Milwaukee? Well, that was a great play right there.
It's just all reaction. Ball hit just a little bit to his left. Fortunately, about glove high. All he had to do was get that left hand out there, knock it down. Plenty of time to throw on to Carlos Pena for the out.
Always important to be in a good fielding position after you let go of the ball, and Dempster was. Espinosa leading all rookies in the National League with those 17 home runs, but 16 of them were before the All-Star break. It's a strike, 1-1. I think the season Espinosa has had is probably more typical than atypical for a rookie who's playing every day at this level for the first time. The league has started to adjust to him, and he bunts it pretty hard back to Dempster. He gets him. And we're also getting into the dog days of August.
A lot of guys their first year at the major league level, the extra 22 games tacked on to the end of the season really gets to be a grind. The minor league season is 140 games. Some guys coming out of college where they played maybe 50 or 60 games in their college season. High school maybe even less than that. But that first time you roll around to the month of September and you continue to play baseball, and ideally you'd like to play into October. It really is a learning experience for young players, and that's where the veterans can really help you with your conditioning, how to keep yourself in shape, how to maintain your healthy habits throughout the entire season.
One of 2 Zimmermans in the lineup, although a little different spelling. Jordan Zimmerman has 2 N's at the end of his surname.
This is really the only one Ryan Dempster's worried about today.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to face Jordan as well. It's 2-1 on Ryan. 4th overall pick in the 2005 draft. The first ever draft pick by the Washington Nationals. An All-Star and a Gold Glover in 2009, and he's won 2 Silver Sluggers. He's in his best stretch of the season, and he crushes one deep to left. And on to Waveland to extend his hit streak to 19 games. That was a major league home run right there.
Boy, it made a loud noise off the bat. Easily sailed out of here onto Waveland Avenue. Our HP touchpad home run replay. It's a thing of beauty when everything comes together for a hitter. You get that front foot down, you drive that bat through the hitting zone, catch that ball just a little bit out in front of home plate, and a long home run. Give the Nationals a 1-0 lead here in the first.
Brings up Michael Morse. Takes ball one outside. Morse 1 for 8 in the series. The one was big, though, a game-winning home run in the opener.
A little slip in the batter's box that time by Morse, dropping down to his back knee. Pitchers don't like to see hitters falling on the ground after they swing at pitches. He's right back with a fastball up and in. Probably wanted it a little further in than that, but the message was sent. The pitch was a strike.
He's got a shot at a batting title. How about that? Inside, 2-2. Has a highest OPS in 72 games as a first baseman, higher than Miguel Cabrera, in fact. 1.023.
Ryan Dempster, of course, a sinker ball pitcher, but you can see him elevating that four-seam fastball, trying to get Morse to chase there up above the letters. He's been susceptible to that pitch in this series.
Off the plate inside for ball 4.
Didn't miss by much. Just tried to continually pound Morse in on his hands, especially up in the zone. Just missed off the inside corner with the last pitch.
Now Jason Worth. 3 for 7 in the series with a home run. He has scored twice. Worth and Scott Rowland, the only two players in baseball to increase their slugging percentage each of the last 4 years. That streak will end for Worth this season. But his last 4 years in Philadelphia just kept increasing the power numbers. He's had good success here at Wrigley Field. Swing and a miss. A slider, 1-2. Now you think of Worth as a Philly, but his first 2 years were with the Blue Jays. Then a couple of years with the Dodgers. He missed the entire 06 season with the Dodgers after left wrist surgery. 4 years with Philly. Parlayed that into a big 7-year contract with the Nationals. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think the first 2 stops on Jason Worth's journey were still when he was considered a prospect. With the Phillies is where he really came into his own. Started to use the 5 tools that he possesses to help his team win ball games, and as we mentioned, kind of hiding down there in that Phillies lineup below Chase Utley and Ryan Howard and Raul Ibanez, really blossomed as a frontline player.
He's been durable. At least 156 games in 09 and 2010. Able to stay alive here, still 2-2. Cubs did not hit on the field today. The Nationals did. There were a lot of Cubs out in the batting cage in right, working with Rudy Jaramillo. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. First strikeout for Dempster. Zimmerman with a long homer onto Waveland makes it 1-0 Washington with the Cubs coming up. Castro leads it off. He's still working on a nice hitting streak. Reed Johnson with a 4-for-4 last night is in right. Ramirez, Pena, Bird, and Soriano in the middle, with Darwin Barney hitting 7th. Coy Hill catching today for Ryan Dempster.
Quick look at the Nationals defensively today. Lance Nix in left, Rick Ankiel in center, Jason Worth over in right field. Ryan Zimmerman at third, Ian Desmond at short, Danny Espinoza at second base. Michael Morse will be over at first base. Ramos doing the catching today for right-hander Jordan Zimmerman. Apparently the Zimmermans have to wear their pants up today. Both Ryan at third and Jordan on the mound wearing the high red socks. Don't let the numbers fool you. This guy is pretty good. Fastball that sits in the mid-90s, a good hard slider. You'll see a lot of curveballs, especially early in the count. First pitch, sometimes on 1-0, just kind of rolls it up there to get some called strikes.
Second time he's faced the Cubs this season. A no decision on the 4th of July in Washington, D.C. Gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. He's 25 years old, a Wisconsin native from Auburndale, Wisconsin, and went to Stevens Point. 2nd-round pick in 2007. Starlin Castro with a 10-game hitting streak. His run streak ended at 10 games last night.
And for the first time in a long time, we saw Starlin Castro chase some bad pitches. Now, we know that he's a bad ball hitter. He can hit pitches out of the strike zone, but especially chasing a lot of breaking pitches in the dirt last night. Just a little overly aggressive.
Tap back to Zimmerman. He throws him out. Follow all of today's stats and info in real time with Cubs in-game live only at csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Honda. Pre-game guest Reed Johnson comes in at 340 on the year. Today's start is simply a reward for his big offensive night last night when he tied his career high with 4 hits. In on his hands as he rolls one to Desmond. 2 down. And now Aramis Ramirez with 2 outs, nobody on. One of 3 Cubs with 20 home runs this season. Cubs are the only NL team to have a 20-homer trio. The Baltimore Orioles, the only other team in the majors to have 3 guys with at least 20. Mark Reynolds with 26. J.J. Hardy and Adam Jones each have 21.
When Aramis really hit in some tough luck last night. Hit 2 rocket line drives to the warning track in right field and a sharp 1-hopper right at the third baseman Ryan Zimmerman. Couldn't hit him any harder than he did, unfortunately, right at Nationals defenders.
Zimmerman's been efficient this year. Hasn't walked many guys. If it weren't for Cliff Lee, you would have heard a lot more about the month of June he put together. He was 3-1 with a 0.85 ERA in June. But remember, Cliff Lee gave up 1 run that month. That was it. Fly ball out into deep right center for Ramirez. And it's going to be off the warning track, then the wall for an easy double.
'28 double of the season for Aramis Ramirez. He continues to hit the ball right on the button. Middle of the plate fastball. Stayed right on it. Drove it to that gap in right center. And were it not for that wind blowing in from right center field, might have been able to get that one up into the bleachers. But as it is, he stands at second base with a 2-out double.
Brings up another one of those 20-homer guys. Carlos Pena's hit all 21 since May 3rd. He's 4 for 5 with a home run against Zimmerman. Ball 1.
Zimmerman struck him out the first time they faced each other, and since then it's been all Carlos Pena. A homer, a triple, and 2 singles.
Way up in the air. It's going to be Desmond as the wind pushed that ball to the Nationals shortstop. 2-out double, no runs. 1-zip Nationals after 1.
You have to be in good fielding position. Dempster has his shoulders and hips squared to home plate, able to knock down that shot off the bat of Ricky Ankiel and throw on to first for the easy out. If you're a sinker ball pitcher that pitches to contact, you better be able to field your position. Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Lance Nix getting the start in left. Bothered by a sore right Achilles lately, but able to go today. Desmond and Ramos to follow here in the second. This has kind of been on that Reed Johnson plan. Going to spring training as a non-roster invitee and then making the opening day roster. He's done it the last 3 seasons.
Somewhat rare start for Nix in left field today. He's been the most used pinch hitter off the bench for Davey Johnson this year with 19 at bats. However, only 2 base hits as a pinch hitter.
Big cut and a miss on a splitter. 2-2. Dempster working quickly. It'll be a one hopper, kind of a squirrely hop there for Castro, but he had time.
Those are the plays that occasionally Castro has had trouble with, just those routine plays, but that time real nice rhythm, kept his body and his feet moving as he fielded the ball, so he had a little bit of momentum to make that throw across the diamond. One of the worst things that can happen to you as a shortstop, especially a shortstop, but for any infielder, is to get caught flat-footed. It really ruins the rhythm of the play. You feel like you really have to rush your feet and your throw across the diamond then to get the out, and that's when bad things tend to happen.
Two strikes to the shortstop Desmond, without a hit so far in this series, and he's 0 for his last 17 since a 4 for 4 on Friday at Colorado. Almost got a piece of Desmond. 2-2. Always in this count, isn't he?
What counts that, Lynn?
The Desmond 2-2.
There you go.
Full now with Ramos coming up next. Bouncer right to Ramirez. No problem. Don't miss the action as the Cubs host the Cardinals Friday, August 19th here at Wrigley Field. Game time is 1:20, but be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 21 and older get a Cubs t-shirt, compliments of Budweiser. For more info and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Ramos has gotten a lion's share of the starts behind the plate this year. 76th time as a starter. Pudge Rodriguez has made 32 starts. Pudge currently on the DL with an oblique. And we saw Jesus Flores last night in his 9th start. Tap to Dempster, bare hands, and gets the out. 3 ground ball outs for Ryan Dempster in the second. It's early, and it's 1-0 Washington. Sportsnet at the Coors Light Northside Baseball Viewing Party. Come by Seminoles at 1630 Essington Road in Joliet to win prizes. Enjoy Coors Light. Watch the Northsiders take on St. Louis. Be there next Friday at Seminoles in Joliet. Some chicks dig the long ball, some chicks dig the sack bunt, but this chick digs Lennon Bob.
Nice.
Very nice.
Can you blame her? She's only human. We dig good baseball.
She was hiding behind the sign. Strike on Marlon Byrd. Young Cub fan enjoying the sunshine here at Wrigley. Side of the infield, and Morris retires Byrd. Stroll through the home of the Cubs and get an insider's look at more than 97 years of history in this legendary ballpark. Guided tours may include visits to the press box, clubhouses, and dugouts, as well as a chance to actually step on the field. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Tour sizes are limited and sell out fast, so get your tickets today. Fastball with a little tail at the end for a strike to Alfonso Soriano last night. Not only had the game-winning RBI, but later hit his 20th home run of the season. A little cue shot, a couple of hops. Morris flips to Zimmerman.
When I mentioned it in the open of the show, I was really encouraged by Alfonso's last at bat in the ball game against Henry Rodriguez, an extremely hard thrower with a good straight changeup and a long extended at bat, and ultimately worked a base on balls. I thought that, combined with the line drive home run that he hit in the at bat before, may have been some signs that Fonzie's starting to snap out of it.
Barney hitting 7th with Coy Hill behind him in the 8th spot. Strike one. I think you need to pack any jackets for this upcoming trip to Atlanta and Houston.
No long johns.
Not necessary. Barney went around, and that's the third out. First strikeout for Zimmerman. He navigated through the second inning on just 8 pitches.
$89, but you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary for a limited time, a la carte only.
Washington with a 1-0 lead. Here's Jordan Zimmerman, the pitcher, taking a strike. So 206 this year with a double and 3 knocked in, 183 over his career.
And only 9 strikeouts in 34 at-bats, which is a very respectable rate for a pitcher, which tells you that more often than not he's going to put the ball in play.
He does there, and he's going to line out to Reed Johnson. Get the Nationals back to the top of their order, and Rick Ankiel. Bryce Harper making headlines. He got ejected last night, first time at the Double-A level. Interesting story online on USA Today's website today by longtime baseball writer Paul White about Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper and the differences between the two, and the fact that the Nationals have really tried to limit their media exposure. I happened to see the other day when Strasburg made his rehab start with Hagerstown, the list of media requirements and rules that the minor league team put out regarding Steven Strasburg. It was pretty interesting. It almost told the media when they could go to the restroom. I mean, it was very specific, very limited. Strasburg, pretty shy guy. Harper's reputation has been that he's fairly brash. But it'll be a different clubhouse when those two guys are both at the major league level, because they have already kind of been given superstar status.
Well, and I'm sure some of their veteran teammates, when they do get to the major leagues, will put them in their place a little bit. You know? Just because all the media's around your locker doesn't mean we like you very much.
Strasburg was in the big leagues last year until suffering the elbow injury that would require Tommy John surgery. As Marlon Byrd makes a catch. I kind of get the impression that for Strasburg at this point, the media stuff, the fan stuff, it just doesn't really register for him. He has basically said, you know, I appreciate the fan support, but I don't really think about that. I just go out and do my job.
I think back to the days when Ryan Theriot was a member of the Chicago Cubs, and he was quite the spokesperson for the team. To his credit, he was willing to stand up after the tough losses and after the tough errors and the 0 for 5 nights and answer any question that was thrown his direction. And his teammates got on him a little bit about it, being the mouthpiece for the team. But it's all good-natured, and quite honestly, every ball club needs that go-to guy, because there are going to be a lot of tough losses, and especially if you're one of the players who had a bad night that perhaps caused that loss, you need somebody to stand up to the media and answer the questions and maybe deflect some away from the guys who were directly responsible.
Well, that's a good point. And again, this is down the line for Strasburg and Harper, but it will get a little aggravating, I'm sure, for their teammates if their teammates have to talk about them,
right? Especially
Strasburg, and he doesn't do it. And secondly, whether it's good or bad, secondly, if you don't talk to the media a lot, the media then will write or present their stories however they do, whether you talk or not. That happens a lot. I'm sure you had writers come up to you saying, Bob, I'm going to write this story whether you talk to me or not, but I'll hear your side if you'd like to give it. Well, that's where a player really would benefit by talking to the media. So we'll see how it goes. I'm very intrigued and interested in how it will go with these two superstars in waiting as Espinosa takes a 2-out walk.
Well, that's also a big change coming from the minor league level, especially those players who make the jump from Double-A to the big leagues. Occasionally in a Triple-A city, you'll have a major market with radio stations and maybe 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 newspapers to deal with on a daily basis. So you become accustomed to dealing with the media on a regular basis. But if you come straight from Double-A or from a small market Triple-A team to the big leagues, especially in a big market team in the big leagues, it can be overwhelming. When you go to your locker and there's 25 or 30 people standing there with pads and paper ready to jot down every word you say, cameras in your face, radio microphones in your face. I think a lot of major league teams have started to kind of help their players in that respect by not necessarily monitoring, but tutoring them in the minor leagues for what they will encounter at some point in their career and how to best handle the media and speak for yourself. I think the biggest word of advice I could give to any player when it comes to dealing with the media is think about the question before you give your answer. It's very easy to see the line of questioning. As soon as a writer begins to ask a question, you can kind of see where he's going with it, and a lot of players go ahead and formulate their answer before they've heard the entire question. And only answer the question that's asked. Don't volunteer any more information than you need to.
Espinosa runs. Nice play by Darwin Barney. Hill's throw was right on the mark, but it was low and actually hit the dirt, and Barney made a good play to flag it down and then apply the tag. Inning over.
Games in August and September. In particular, the series against the Atlanta Braves on August 22nd through the 25th. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Here's Coy Hill. Batting eighth today, takes ball one. Speaking of Steven Strasburg, the general hope on the part of the Nationals is that he'll replace Jordan Zimmerman in the Nationals rotation coming up. Zimmerman came in with 138 and a third innings, so if you update it now, he's just over 140 innings on the year. He's 23 months past Tommy John surgery. As Hill rolls it into right for a base hit. They're going to cap his innings at around 160. So whatever it is, 3-4 more starts. After that, Zimmerman will be shut down for the season. So if that gets him to the end of this month, they hope that Strasburg can kind of jump into that spot for the final month of the season.
It would have been interesting to have Fergie Jenkins in the booth to ask him what he thinks about programs like that. They capped his innings at about 360 every year. It's a different time, a different game.
Bunted foul by Dempster. Watch Comcast Sportsnet game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Zimmerman thought for a brief second about Coy Hill, but in the end takes he out at first.
As good as the Cubs have, putting down sack bunts. Ryan Dempster with his 9th of the season deadens that ball on the right side. Zimmerman took a quick look at second base, but decided to take the sure out at first. Like to see a pitcher pick up a sack bunt and take a look at the lead runner first. You always are going to have time to turn and throw to first base. Occasionally that runner will stumble on his secondary lead or be unsure whether the ball's on the ground or not and get a bad jump towards second base. And a lot of times if you just concede that sack bunt, you give away the chance of getting the lead runner.
Hill holding as Worth makes the grab. Tying run in scoring position, 2 outs. Reed Johnson looks at a strike.
I thought Reed Johnson had some great comments in his interview with Chris Bowden before the ball game today about feeling better when you play more often. It's an amazing phenomenon for a part-time player or a bench player when you're only in there 1, maybe 2 days a week, a pinch hit appearance there, a defensive replacement there. Those bench players work so hard because in many cases that's their game. Batting practice and taking fly balls in the outfield, doing your running, getting your conditioning work in. And then you sit around for 2.5 or 3 or 4 hours just waiting for an at bat like Blake DeWitt is today. And your body tends to cool back down, your muscles tighten up and get a little stiffer. And if you already have a pre-existing nagging injury, it's very tough to get loose again late in a ball game. But when you're playing, you stay loose all afternoon and those little aches and pains seem to go away.
In an 0-2 battle here.
I think back to my playing career, Len. At times I was a platoon player. For a little while I was an everyday player. At the end of my career I was a bench warmer. And it was always much easier to get into a rhythm and physically feel good when you're playing every day. My best season in the big leagues was '84, and I had torn cartilage in both knees at the end of the season. It required surgery, but I was still playing every day because it felt good. When you're sitting on that bench, maybe you warm up 3 or 4 pitchers during the course of the game and then sit down in the bullpen and all of a sudden the phone rings. Hey, you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher. I tell you, it was tough to not only mentally get yourself ready for that at bat, but physically get your body loose enough where you felt like you had a chance to compete.
Why the guys who are able to do it well. They're very valuable guys.
No question.
You get pigeonholed as a bench player or as a professional pinch hitter, but they're not easy to find. Not a lot of guys really embrace that role. For the reasons you mentioned. Hill led off the inning with a single. He's at second, 2 outs now.
One guy who grew to embrace that role, he was with the Nationals earlier this year, has recently retired. Matt Stairs. I'll tell you what, he was good for the game of baseball. Well traveled. Last majority of his career was spent as a bench player, pinch hitter, and he really embraced that role and became a really good pinch hitter.
All-time leader in pinch hit home runs. I believe he was the next Cubs first baseman after Mark Grace. That'll be a base hit. Nix charging the ball as Hill is stopped at third by Ivan De Jesus.
The slider low and away. Reed Johnson cues it right off the end of the bat. Coy Hill had a nice secondary lead out there at second base. Unfortunately, that ball got to Nix on a big hop. Coy Hill has to slide on the grass to break his momentum and get back to the bag at third. With Aramis Ramirez, the next scheduled hitter, you can see why Ivan De Jesus was a little more cautious than he might normally be.
High for ball one. And Matt Stairs is the answer to an interesting trivia question. The Cubs opening day first baseman the year after Mark Grace left, 2001. Bangs that one off the helmet. The catcher Ramos. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Right off the top of the helmet. Glancing blow all the way to the backstop.
Espinosa out. Worth is in. And Espinosa calls for it, makes a catch, and the Cubs strand a couple. 2 hits, no runs. We'll head to the 4th. It's 1-0 Nationals.
With the KFC 10-piece family feast, just $20.
And time now for our AT&T trivia question. I am the only player to win the MVP in both leagues. Who am I?
Matt Stairs.
No. Okay. Good guess. I happen to know this one. Bulls head coach Tom Thibodeau here at the ballpark today. NBA Coach of the Year. And ball one on the guy who has supplied the only run to this point, Ryan Zimmerman. Extended his hit streak to 19 games. And a Waveland shot in the first inning. Assuming that's pine tar, right?
I think it's that stickum.
Okay.
There's a tube stick in the on-deck circle that has a kind of a adhesive grip surface that the players rub on the bat. It serves the same purpose as pine tar, but it just kind of shows up as reddish pink on the bat. Either that or his bat has chicken pox. I'm not sure.
There's an ivy or something. Count holding.
Boy, it has been a tremendous homestand for fans making plays in the stands. The gentleman sitting in the front row of the upper deck. Nice two-handed catch on that one.
Webster picks it up before that ball had a chance to end up fair. I think the catch of the year, though, happened last night.
Yeah.
A fan holding a young child with one arm, with the other hand just nonchalantly grabbed the foul ball. He could drop the ball, but not the kid.
No. He didn't drop either one. This one we're talking about last night. Hard to see initially, but then you zoom in and you see the gentleman just stuck the big right paw up in the air while holding the baby with his left arm. He has no idea what happened.
Johnson with the catch. Good job as always by the Menards grounds crew here at Wrigley Field. Bad idea if you're sitting in that sun today. Morris walked his first time as he takes a slider up for ball one. Some games that have already gone final, 3 of them around baseball. Those games start at 7 in the morning. Tampa Bay beat Kansas City 4-1.
Sunrise special.
Yeah. Jeff Neiman over Danny Duffy. Padres beat the Mets in New York 3-2. Chad Qualls got the win in relief over Jonathan Neese. Cameron Maben with his 7th home run of the year for the Padres. Cincinnati over the Rockies 2-1 the final. They got 2 in the first and made it hold up. Johnny Cueto over Jhoulys Chacin as Morse strikes out. Number 2 for Dempster. C.J. Bruce with a couple of hits. Johnny Cueto had that bad start against the Cubs over the weekend, but he was really good today. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Struck out 9 to get his ERA down to 1.94.
don't know if you saw the story this morning, Len. The reason given for the poor outing against the Cubs last time by Johnny Cueto was bad chicken wings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he had an upset stomach all afternoon. Blamed it on some bad chicken wings. Probably not the kind of pregame meal a nutritionist would recommend for a major league pitcher, but probably not the pregame meal he'll ever have again.
A half swing by Worth to fight it off. Brewers will go for the sweep in St. Louis later tonight. Not sure if that's where he stopped by for the Wings, but missed 1 and 2. And Milwaukee is red hot. They look for a 6-0 road trip. See, the Diamondbacks jumped ahead of the Giants in the NL West. And now a 5-game lead for Milwaukee. Giovanni Gallardo against Chris Carpenter tonight at Busch Stadium. Brewers have won 13 of 14. Their big problem for most of the season had been winning on the road, but they put together a perfect trip to this point. Called strike 3 to end the inning. Worth knew it. No argument from him. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th as the Cubs try to get on the board for the first time today, trailing 1-0. A question. The only player to win the American League and National League MVP award. And it's a guy who actually managed this franchise. Frank Robinson with the Reds 1961, and then 5 years later with the Orioles in 1966. The Hall of Famer, 586 career home runs. He had 49 homers in 66. Later would manage the Expos / Nationals. Final 3 years in Montreal and the first 2 years in Washington. He was a player manager back in the mid-70s with Cleveland, and one time was Bob Brenly's manager with the Giants. That one's club foul by Carlos Pena. Tell you, Frank did a really nice job with his franchise. I mean, it was just a bizarre run there at the end. Final 3 years in Montreal. We've chronicled the lack of attendance, but they had back-to-back winning seasons. In fact, in 2002, they finished in second place in the East with a very limited budget. Line to Jason Worth. And I seem to recall there was one year, Bob, when they were in the race and they were not allowed to make September call-ups. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. That was a very unfortunate situation, but Frank was able to make the most of it. I'll tell you what, I've said it many, many times. I played for Frank very early in my career when I was young and dumb and had no idea what I was doing on the field. I wish I would have had the opportunity to play for Frank later in my career when I knew a little bit more about the game and how it was supposed to be played. Very, very demanding, but very fair. Boy, and could he hit. Wow. Just an amazing, amazing player.
Bird out into right center. And a one-out single for the Cubs center fielder.
A tailing fastball that ends up on the inner third of the plate. A little inside out swing from Marlon Byrd. Was looking to go to right field the entire swing. Ends up with a single to right center field.
Soriano out into right center. Worth can't get it. It deflects off his glove. Ankiel will pick it up on the warning track as Bird races toward the plate. Soriano to third with a triple. We're tied.
About a year since his last triple. A couple of testers for Jason Worth in right field. The smash off the bat of Carlos Pena, who was able to make a nice running catch coming straight in. This time looked like he nearly got to the spot. The ball just deflects off the webbing of the glove. And fortunately for the Cubs, away from Rick Ankiel, who was coming over to back up the play, allowing Marlon Byrd to score all the way from first base.
They'll bring their infield in against Darwin Barney, who pulls one just foul. Another big RBI hit for Alfonso Soriano.
We've heard Rudy Jaramillo talk about it a lot. You know Alfonso is getting close at the plate when he's starting to drive the ball to right center and right field. Normally he's a dead pull hitter, and occasionally that can get him into some bad habits. But when he's staying on the ball, hitting it to the opposite field as he did right there, that's a good sign.
Barney not afraid to hit with two strikes. Just inside. 1-2.
Boy, and if the hitters have been paying attention today, Alan Porter, the home plate umpire, has called very few pitches on that inside part of the plate to right-handed hitters. He's going to make the pitcher hit the corner on that inside part. He's not going to cheat inside at all.
Soriano has to hold as Espinoza retires Barney. 2 down, and we'll see what they do here with Coy Hill with a couple of bases open and the pitcher now on deck.
Catcher number 55, Coy Hill.
It's always a roll of the dice for a manager. You go after the number 8 hitter and he happens to get a base hit and drive home that runner from third base with 2 outs. Everybody's going to second guess and say you should have walked the 8 guy and gone after the pitcher. That's what Davey Johnson's going to do right now. He's going to walk Coy Hill intentionally. The upside is if you can retire that number 8 hitter, you have the pitcher leading off the next inning.
So that's the first walk given up by Zimmerman, who's thrown a lot of strikes today. Ryan Dempster should be offended and should hit a 3-run home run.
Just a base hit. 99 hopper that dribbles through the infield somewhere. Cubs will take that right now.
Slider strike, and it's 0-2. Probably about in line with what most pitchers do. Offensively, inside fastball, 2-2 with Castro on deck, and there's no way Zimmerman wants to walk Ryan Dempster to load the bases. There's a lot of incentive to get the pitcher out right here.
On this pitch, you don't want to go to a full count and get Coy Hill a head start over there at first base.
He does get him on the slider. To end the inning, Soriano with a triple ties the game at 1 apiece.
$653 if you're the 500th texter. You could win $5 footlong subs from Subway. Partner, have you ever taken that architectural boat tour down the river?
I really want to.
Oh, it's beautiful. You'd really enjoy it. I've done it several times with visiting guests from out of town, and I would highly recommend it.
There's a lot of stuff I like to do tourist wise, but you know, you live in a town and tend not to do the touristy things. We were going to go up in the Willis Tower one day, a new observation deck, but it was a little too windy. So 1-1 as Nix will lead off the 5th. You know who Lance's favorite NBA team is?
The Celtics.
I was going to say the Rockets. He's from Houston. 2-0. Pitch to Lance Knickerbockers. Barney throws him out. The 27th annual Cubs convention takes place at the Hilton Chicago January 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2012. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago at 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes go on sale in early November. For more information, visit Cubs.com. It's kind of the start to the new baseball season. Mid-January as Desmond grounds out. The Nationals have one hit in this game. It was a big one. Zimmerman with a home run. That's the only one allowed to this point by Ryan Dempster. Sharply hit ground ball, and Barney just didn't have time to get to it. It's their second hit of the afternoon. We'll get Zimmerman to the plate. He can handle that bat. He lined out to Reed Johnson in right in the third inning.
And then we want to send congratulations to Brennan and Kelly Dicker on the birth of their newest Cubs fan, Stella Francesca, born yesterday. Congratulations. Hope all are doing well.
And we want to wish Theo Hellman a very happy birthday. He's a Cubs bat boy today. Pretty good birthday present.
Yeah, not bad at all.
It's from your dad, Tom. We call him Otis. Cubs clubhouse manager. I don't have Theo's age. I could guess, but I'd hate to do that. Whatever age it is, happy birthday.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of stuff to do downtown, the other thing I would encourage people to try is the Segway tour, which I have done, and it's a lot of fun. You ever ridden a Segway?
No, I have not.
It's really cool. And for you, it'd be great because you could tour the whole city and you don't have to walk at all.
How fast can you get going on one of those things?
Gosh. Maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour. Fast enough. You essentially lean into it and then you lean back when you want to slow down. That's it. It's an amazing technology. It never really caught on. You see occasionally police officers on the Segway. And I'm sure everyone who takes that tour says, I'm going to go spend $7,000 to buy one. And then they forget about it the next day. Called strike three on a slider to end the inning. So a 1-1 tie. There's Tom Otis Hellman, Cubs clubhouse man and a wonderful chef as well. Day. Hey fans, check out the new Cubs Kids Club presented by ComEd, the official kids club of the Chicago Cubs. Help your favorite young Cub fan earn his or her pinstripes as a member of the Cubs Kids Club, and they'll get kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise throughout the 2011 baseball season. Visit Cubs.com to sign up today. Castro looks at a slider for a strike from right-hander Jordan Zimmerman. And a pretty good duel here with Ryan Dempster. The pitching's been really good throughout this series. Chin-Ming Wong took a no-hitter into the 6th on Tuesday night. Rodrigo Lopez got the win for the Cubs last night. Fastball just outside. I think she missed the convention in Pittsburgh this year.
It might be a little chilly in the shade today, but not quite that cold.
Ground ball. Espinosa. Castro is 0 for 3. Actually saw a weird story online last week that seemed to confirm that the NHL draft was going to be in Pittsburgh next summer because the furry convention was moved up a week. Somehow the city of Pittsburgh asked them if they could have their convention a little earlier than usual. And we've run into them a few times over the years.
Yes, we have.
Scott Central.
I'd always rather be to Pittsburgh before the furry convention than after. I would agree.
Good slider at 88. 1-1.
Last trip to Pittsburgh, we were there when the American Veterans Wheelchair Games were going on. Very inspiring to talk to some of those ladies and gentlemen that were participating. Well, they get after it, I'll tell you what. Do not let the fact that they're confined to a wheelchair inhibit their pursuit of competition.
Desmond can't get it. As Johnson not only 2 for 3 today, but 6 for 7 over the last 2 days.
I talked to Reed briefly in the clubhouse before the ball game today, and he said he feels as good at the plate right now as he has in years, and he has hit a lot of baseballs just like this one, right on the button. Hard ground ball, and Ian Desmond's got great range out there at shortstop, and he can't even react quickly enough to get to that ball. Just hit it hard. Len, keep an eye on Wilson Ramos as he gives the signs to Jordan Zimmerman here. One of your major concerns as a catcher is that one of the base coaches might be able to steal the signs. So to that end, Wilson Ramos really closes up that right leg, uses the catcher's mitt to shield from the third base coach just to make sure that Bobby Dernier or Ivan DeJesus aren't getting a peek at those signs as Ramirez pulls one home run distance but foul down the third base line. Times in this game that Jordan Zimmerman has elevated that slider. That one belt high right in the middle of the plate. Unfortunately, just hooked foul down that third base line.
Foul tip into the glove for strike 3.
I think Pena might take him deep here, Len. We talked about the numbers for Carlos against Zimmerman in the past. 4 for 5 with a home run and a triple. His first at bat of the ball game, he hit a ball a mile high in the middle of the infield. Just got under it a little bit too much and then lined out to Jason Worth in right field. The first time this year I'm making a call right here.
You remind me of Micah Hoffpower when you make a prediction. We're right on the money 2 or 3 times a couple of years ago for Micah.
He's going to have to pound it pretty good to get it through that wind that's blowing straight in from right field. Maybe he'll hit one to the opposite field. I just got a feeling he's going to hit the ball hard right here. Zimmerman's been leaving some of those sliders up around the belt, pitches that he was burying down at the knees on the outside corner earlier in the ball game. Some of them are straying up over the heart of the plate.
Two and one.
Come on, Carlos. She wants you to hit a home run too.
Well, he's worked a 3-1 count. Three and two on a borderline strike. One has been in the box.
3-2 count, none of them in the box. But you can clearly see a pattern developing for Zimmerman trying to pitch Pena up in the zone, even with the breaking pitches.
Johnson will go with 2 outs. There he goes in a swing and a miss to end the inning.
Maybe next AP.
Yep. Well, it's 1-1 after 5. Baseball experience presented by Captain Morgan. Go to Cubs.com/captain. Makeup game today is the Cubs and the Nationals wrap up this series. The season series as well. The Nats have won 4 of 6. He'll ask for time. Right-hander Dave Bush, who was pitching at AAA Iowa, has opted out of his contract. He had struggled 5 starts with the I-Cubs and a 6.14 ERA after inking a minor league deal back in mid-July. Wellington Castillo, the catcher, and third baseman Marquez Smith have been activated from the DL for the I-Cubs. Stephen Clevenger, who was hot, and Jonathan Moda have been reassigned to AA Tennessee. Clevenger, with a 5-game hitting streak, was hitting .407 with Iowa. That one is yanked foul into the upper deck. Brett Jackson continues his hot streak. He's hitting .320. And at High A Daytona, they're playing, what, 7 games today?
Yeah.
They've been rained out a couple of straight days, right?
Yeah, they've had a couple of tough weather days down in Florida. Play a doubleheader against the Lakeland Flying Tigers, starting at 5 o'clock Eastern time tonight.
Why is it that the big league Tigers don't fly, yet the minor league Tigers do?
That's a real good question. Of course, the Lakeland Flying Tigers, their pitching coach is Casey Coleman's papa, Joe Coleman. Cubs connections everywhere.
3-2 as Ankiel fights off a fastball. The Cubs have won 15 of Ryan Dempster's 24 starts, including 12 of his last 16. Saying something for a guy who got off to such a bad start in April. And while he's just 9-8, your team is 6 games over. When you pitch, you're doing your job. Ground ball to Pena. Dempster covering first, 1 away.
The thing about Ryan Dempster this season, Len, obviously got off to the slow start, but even on those days when he does not have his best stuff, he finds a way to tap dance. It may not always be pretty. He may have to labor at times, but he finds a way to keep his team in the ballgame. Mentioned his last outing against the Reds, he only gave up 4 hits, but he walked 6 batters. A lot of traffic on the bases in his 6 innings of work, but only allowed 2 runs to score. That's the best thing you can say about Ryan Dempster, regardless of the kind of stuff he has on a given day or who the Cubs are playing or where they're at in the standings. He's going to compete. You know that.
Floated out into center for a base hit.
And that may sound like an obvious statement, but we've all seen pitchers that go out and take the mound. They don't have their best stuff, or the defense doesn't make plays behind them, or their offense doesn't score runs for them, and they just stop pitching. They Just start throwing the ball for the middle of the plate, looking for the pitching coach to come get him. That's not the case with Ryan Dempster.
Zimmerman picking up his hits, and even when he's made outs, he has swung the bat well. Home run today and a line out to deep right. Fans with their gloves out on the front row in the bleachers. They'd prefer to wait till the bottom of the inning to catch a home run ball. High for ball 2, 2-1. Going to get any easier for the Nationals this weekend, or the Cubs for that matter. As the Cubs head to Atlanta, Braves are off today. Won their 4th straight last night at Florida, and the Phillies have the best record in baseball, 77-40, and they'll host the Nats tomorrow night. As we start this series tomorrow night here on CSN, Dan Uggla will carry a 31-game hitting streak into that series. His batting average has gone up from 173 to 224. He's hitting .355 with a lot of power during this hitting streak. The Braves history in Atlanta dates back to 1966, and Uggla has tied for the longest hitting streak during that time. Runner goes, Espinosa, he is out. For the second time today, Coy Hill nails Espinosa on the bases.
He would have learned his lesson on the first one. Boy, Coy Hill gets rid of that ball so quickly. Owen Barney with another good tag on Danny Espinosa. For the second time in the ball game, he's gunned out attempting to steal second base.
It kind of goes against Davey Johnson's style, especially with this guy at the plate. Their hottest hitter. And twice Espinosa with Zimmerman at the plate has been thrown out.
Well, Davey took it a little more calmly than Earl Weaver would have.
Zimmerman swings and misses at a slider. That's 5 strikeouts today for Ryan Dempster, 30 for the Cubs pitching staff in this series.
high speed action. Back to the fourth inning. Alfonso Soriano finding that gap in right center field for his first triple of the season, plating Marlon Byrd all the way from first base.
One tie. Morse and Espinosa, no play. Right center. Zanquillo kind of peeled off at the last second. Worth with the grab. It's a collision waiting to happen.
It's a little easier play for Jason Worth with the angle of the sun right now. Worth coming straight across from his right field position. Ankiel kind of taking a little bit of a deeper line that time.
Off the end of the bat. And it's Worth. More trouble with the sun on this ball, but he makes a catch. 2 outs.
Darwin take a few pitches in the course of this at bat just to try to extend Zimmerman a little bit in this inning. Very quick outs here to start the bottom half of the 6th.
Oakland beat Toronto today 10-3 up at Rogers Center. Hideki Matsui went 4 for 6. For the A's, Guillermo Moscoso over Brad Mills in that one. We've been following the controversy surrounding the Blue Jays as some more reports are out about the Blue Jays possibly stealing signs with a person in the seats in center field. Alex Anthopoulos, their general manager, held a news conference to deny all of it yesterday. What argues against it a little bit is that the Blue Jays at home have been just 29-28 after the loss today. They're stealing signs. They should be better than that.
And you know, if indeed they were stealing signs, and I have no way to know, but GM would probably be the last guy to know. It's not like something you would report to your own front office. Hey, listen, we're going to put a spy out in the center field bleachers with a flashlight, and he's going to relay signs to our hitters, okay? It's not the kind of thing you usually clear through your GM.
Ball 4, and there's that patient at bat you were talking about. First unintentional walk given up by Zimmerman, second overall. And here's Coy Hill. Well, at this point, there's really nothing the Blue Jays can say. And you almost get to the point, let's just assume for the moment that they haven't done that. It's kind of like Gaylord Perry. You get to a point where your reputation precedes what really is going on. He liked the fact that guys accused him of throwing a spitball.
Embraced it. I don't know how many of you have seen video of Gaylord Perry back in the day, but he'd tug at his belt, he'd rub the back of his head, he'd pull on the cap, he'd rub the back of his neck again. He wanted people to think he was loading the ball up out there on the mound. That was half the battle. If you had them thinking about that, chances are they weren't going to be able to square the ball up very well.
I mean, again, assuming MLB does nothing about it and the Blue Jays are in the clear, people think you're doing it. Let them spend time worrying about the extra signs and all that stuff. And just the idea of what cheating is in the culture of baseball is a fascinating subject. And we've delved into it a few times over the years. Most people agree stealing signs on the field, a base runner, as you mentioned, a base coach, or even a hitter trying to steal a sign, or from the opposing dugout, that seems to be fair game. Called strike 3, and that'll end the inning. Zimmerman has matched Dempster pitch for pitch. We'll go to the 7th. It's 1-1. And writers, sports stars, and celebrities join host David Kaplan to discuss the day's hottest sports topics and set the table for the night ahead. Chicago Tribune Live, presented by Captain Morgan, tonight at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Cubs all-star second baseman and longtime roommate of Ron Santo, Glenn Beckert, will conduct the stretch. And Dempster continues on. Probably his final inning. He's just over 100 pitches. He is due to lead off the bottom of the 7th. Swinging strike on Michael Morse.
I send birthday wishes to Sharon Sorrentino. From Bob Sorrentino. He listed her age here, but Sharon, I won't do that to you. Hope you're having a great day.
So, you know, that makes it sound worse than it is. And Morris really stung by that pitch. Tried to catch him in the left arm. It's the 10th time he's been hit.
I've mentioned this before, Len. I think everybody out there at some point or other has banged their crazy bone. Imagine doing it with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Oh, yeah, man.
Well, Dempster's been trying to pitch Morse inside the whole ball game, trying to take away some of that pop. Don't allow him to get those arms extended. Hitting the elbow and grabbing his wrist. Occasionally you can actually see the seam marks that the ball leaves when you get hit by a pitch in that area, but Michael Morse has a series of tattoos up the outside of his left arm, so I'm not sure if that's a ball mark or a tat. It looks like a tattoo.
That'd be a big loss for them.
Yes, it would be.
Their best hitter.
They see Johnny Gomes pinch run and then stay in the game and play left field and move Lance Nix to first base. And Davey Johnson doesn't have a lot of options. We talked about it in the first two games of this series. Nationals choosing to go with a four-man bench and add an extra pitcher to the bullpen.
So leadoff man is on, and it'll bring up Jason Worth.
Now, the Nationals, right fielder number 28, Jason Worth.
As we resume, ball one. Side edge.
Jason Worth, I don't believe he had any idea where that foul ball went. He is really searching up there at the plate. He's taking some funny looking half swings, some partial swings. Chased a lot of bad pitches out of the zone, and when he's had mistake pitches that are very hittable, he's fouled them off like he did on that last delivery from Ryan Dempster.
Still 1-2. Yankees lead the Angels 6-2. Scored 2 in the 6th to tie it, 4 in the 7th to grab the lead. They're in the top of the 9th. Homers today. Callaspo for the Angels, his 4th. Curtis Granderson, another one. He had 2 last night. He has 32 on the year. Robinson Cano with his 20th. That was a grand slam to give them the lead. Swing and a miss. A split. One away.
Well, Granderson having an MVP type season for the Yankees this year. That home run puts him second only to Jose Bautista in home runs as you get another look at that splitter for strike 3. The RBIs, he's probably in first place now in the American League. He's scored over 20 runs more than the second place run score in the American League. Granderson had 104 going into play today. Jacoby Ellsbury at 84 in second place in the American League.
Russell Branyan just hit a 3-run homer, pinch hit 3-run homer off Mariano Rivera, who had to come in to try to bail out Corey Wade. So it's 6-5 Yankees in the 9th. It's a wild one in the Bronx.
Well, Rivera gave up a home run to Bobby Abreu the other day. He get hit a little bit.
Lefties are doing a little more damage on his cut fastball than in the past. Bounced well in front of home plate. Ryan Matthews is up for the Nationals. White Sox are in Baltimore tonight, right here on Comcast Sportsnet at 6 o'clock. Just 4 back of Detroit. Tigers have lost the last 2 days in Cleveland, and Detroit and Cleveland again tonight. Justin Verlander and Fausto Carmona will go at it tonight. Fair ball. Step on first. Tag applied. Double play. That goes 3-6 to end the inning. Here comes Glenn Beckert.
He's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Former Cubs All-Star second baseman Glenn Beckert.
Hello, fans. Nice to be back here. I want to sing that song that Sano showed me how to do, so I need some help. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. And it's root for our Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's go, Cubs.
It was so much fun.
It was just excellent. The weather was beautiful, and the statue of Ron, which he so richly deserves. And it's a shame, even though he passed away, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. If he's not there, they better investigate the place.
Has a good chance to get in possibly this winter. And you're right, that's where he belongs.
Len, I don't know how they do that there, but I'm sure he'll get in. I had a lot of fun with him, a lot of good times. Not only did I room with him 9 years, I also lived with him during the off season.
I got to ask you, Glenn, we know how tough he took the losses. Even up here in the booth, he did not suffer losses well. How was he as a teammate back in your playing days?
He was good. We had a lot of good times together. I was very impressed when he asked me to room with him. And, he was up in the major leagues 5 years before I got there. And we're the similar age. We're only 6 months apart. And that was nice. And my mother and dad, he really did. I said, yeah. They said, well, definitely room with him. I said, okay. But we had a good time together.
2-2 on speedster Tony Campana. The weather cooperated. A huge crowd out at the corner of Addison and Sheffield. And Ronnie's statue just a few feet away from Billy Williams as Campana foul tips for the out.
Two of our best players. And it's even though we didn't play in the World Series, 3 of our guys that played on the team are in the Hall of Fame. So I think that's pretty good.
Well, I hope, and that's one of the theories, is that Ron has not been penalized for that. The idea that you have 3 Hall of Famers on a team that didn't get to the World Series, you can't take that out on an individual player. As you said, there's some great ball clubs.
There is, but a lot of things in the Hall of Fame is the guys, the fellow would play in the playoffs at World Series and have great series things, and that's why they were elected into the Hall of Fame, and our team never had that chance.
Well, you hate to do it, and third base is kind of tricky in terms of guys who get into the Hall of Fame. Now, George Brett, there's no question, Hall of Famer. Brooks Robinson, piece of cake. Mike Schmidt, absolutely. And to take nothing away, and this is one of my heroes. I didn't see him play, but a longtime broadcaster in Detroit. But if you look at George Kell's numbers and Ron's numbers, Ron's a Hall of Famer.
Pretty obvious. I just didn't understand it. And I don't know what the specifics are, why he wasn't voted in, or who had it against him, or did he say some wrong thing to the wrong person who happened to be voting at that time? I don't know.
Castro strikes out. That's 7 now for Zimmerman, who seems to be getting stronger as this day has gone along. And hearing the speeches talking about Randy Hundley with the fantasy camps, that core group has remained together to this day. It's really neat, isn't it?
It's really, really something that we have it's a great love we have for each other. And as we grow old, we're growing old together. And I'll certainly miss Ron, because he was one of them. I called him at least once a week to get him going or something. And I called him one time and I said, Ron, I hear that you have a new hairpiece, and I said it looks outstanding. But would you do me a favor? I'm losing some of my hair. Could you send me a used bag? And click, down goes the phone. That was the end of that one.
Yeah, you could always have fun with Ron. 2 strikes on Reed Johnson. A little non sequitur here. We've had you in the booth so many times, and as I look at your career, I want to ask you about playing with a young Dave Winfield. Toward the end of your career and the beginning of his in San Diego.
He was outstanding, and in fact, with Dave, and he's just a super guy. He's still a super guy, but you could see the talent and what he was going to do. And I said, if I help you out and loan you some money right now, would you put me in for about 3% of what you're going to make? And he was considering, and I said, oh boy, I'll get that money somehow.
Another base hit for Reed Johnson. It's 3 today.
That was a very different team. We had so many young kids and rookies, and I used to loaf with Willie McCovey. He also was traded there. We were 2 of the older fellows, And so he and I went out to dinner a lot and stayed together. But seeing some of the young kids, and we did have one problem. The shortstop who had talent, one problem was I didn't speak Spanish and he didn't speak English. And it's very difficult for a shortstop and second baseman to play that position when you're trying to make up signals that go with each other. Bob, you'd know that. You were manager.
You guys have this in common. Cito Gaston. Bob was with him in Toronto, and you played with him in San Diego. All these great connections. Randy Jones that season actually lost 22 games. It's kind of hard to imagine.
Yes, it is.
Before he won the Cy Young.
My old skipper Roger Craig lost 20 games for the New York Mets one year, and he used to insist that you've got to be a really good pitcher to lose 20 games because your manager keeps giving you the ball and sending you back out there.
You got. How about when you mentioned New York, the Mets to Sano? That started his ruin his whole day.
That was a hot button for Ronnie.
Oh boy. I will give the Mets credit. They come up with some young pitchers. I think there's one or whatever in the Hall of Fame, and their pitching staff developed all together at once, and they were outstanding. And they had some players that had great years hitting that in prior years they didn't.
Ramirez goes out to deep left, and it will go to give the Cubs the lead. A 2-run shot, is 21st of the year. You can kind of hear Ron in the radio booth right now saying, "Go, yeah!" as that ball was flying out.
Well, Ramirez looked like he got fooled just a little bit on that 88-mile-an-hour slider, just kind of a one-handed flip swing. Or HP touchpad home run replay. That's enough to get it into the bleachers.
There was a story about Ron saying, "I'll give it quickly." Playing in Philadelphia, he hits a 3-run homer, and as he's rounding third, he gets to home. It's a standing ovation, and he says, "I have never in my life seen something like this." I says, "Don't get too excited, Ron. Look at the scoreboard. Man lands on the moon."
You always put them in your place, right, Beck?
Well, typical baseball life, you know.
Yeah,
it's you spend so much time together, and you actually sometimes run out of things to say, Bob. Right?
That's when you start making them up.
Yeah. But that was a true story. That's definitely true.
Funny.
Well, there's footage of the whole gang getting together to sing the 7th inning stretch. You're down in the marketing office, 5 or 6 of you. Everybody's just giving it to Ronnie. I mean, everybody's laughing. Just a wonderful scene. There's Pena now. This all happened with 2 outs. Johnson singled, and then Ramirez hit a 2-run homer, and the Cubs have their first lead of the day. Swing and a miss. How long are you in town?
I leave tomorrow. My daughter and my grandson's coming down there, and they want to do a little boating, and they want to go to a Rays game. So that's what Grandpap's going to do for them.
Pena, high and deep to right. Is it going to stay fair? It's a home run on the Sheffield. Wow. Well, you had a feeling today, partner. Back in the 5th inning, he struck out, but this time he comes through.
Boy, he just was swinging the bat. Those first 2 at-bats of the game looked like he was locked in, seeing the ball well. Oh, man, did he crush that ball right into the teeth of the wind. Our HP touchpad home run replay. Carlos Pena with his 22nd home run of the season, deep onto Sheffield Avenue.
That's it for Zimmerman. It's the Toyota call to the pin. And it'll be Ryan Matthews here for the Nationals when we come back. 4-1 Cubs. Matthews, after Jordan Zimmerman gave up back-to-back home runs, the Cubs lead 4-1. Glenn Beckert is with us in the booth. 2 outs, it'll be Marlon Byrd. Glenn, your rookie year, you didn't get like a late call-up and play 10 games and come back the next year. You played 154 games your first year with the Cubs in 1965.
I didn't hit too well, but every road trip I took all my personal clothing with me.
Just in case. Well, we talked about Danny Espinosa, the rookie second baseman for the Nationals, has struggled here in the second half. Darwin Barney has had a good year, but he's had some stretches here in the second half during which he's struggled. It's a grind, isn't it? Especially for a young player.
It's a very young grind. I mean, the first day I played here was very cold. Opening day here, we're playing St. Louis, and Bob Gibson's playing, and oh man! And I think I fanned the first trip, and then I popped up. But then I got my first hit off him. It was a swinging bunt down the third base line. I never ran that hard in my life, and because I was scared that I was going to call Dad and be, Dad, don't give up my job at the florist shop because I'm coming home. I think it's the shock of that first getting that out of your mind, seeing what the major leagues are like, how many people there are, that you have to travel, the conditions, and that puts a lot of pressure on a young fella.
Three and one on Marlon Byrd. Swing and a miss. Full count, 3-2. Ground ball to third, picked up by Ryan Zimmerman, and they'll get him. Glenn Beckert, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Meant a lot to the Santos that you were here this week. Cubs get the lead on a couple of home runs. Ramirez and Pena. It's 4-1. to the Cardinals series at Wrigley? Cubs Destinations has spots available for this highly anticipated matchup. All standard packages include great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the park, and a private meet and greet with a current Cub. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Comes Jeff Samardzija. Cubs leading 4-1. Ian Desmond will lead it off. Sean Marshall up in the bullpen, just in case here in the 8th.
Man, I'll tell you, Jeff Samardzija had a really nice second half of the season. I think the biggest reason for his improvement is his consistent delivery. He really had struggled at times in the past and in the first half of the season to find a consistent delivery that would allow him to repeat, throw strikes with all of his pitches. But I'll tell you, recently he has been in a very nice groove, repeating that delivery pitch after pitch after pitch, staying in the strike zone. On occasion, he'll try to hump up and overthrow a fastball, but for the most part, he has found something that works for him.
Todd Coffey, probably caffeinated today as always. Into left center. Soriano coming in, and he won't get there in time. Bird backing it up, and the throw to second is going to be just a little late.
Soriano initially broke back on that ball, rather. Desmond hit it off the end of the bat, so it's not going to carry as well as you might think. And that slight hesitation before charging straight in allows that ball to drop in front of Soriano. Marlon Byrd right there to back it up, but Desmond with too much speed able to leg it into a double.
It's his first hit of the series. If Soriano had come up to bat in the bottom of the 7th, I think Tony Campana would have stayed in as part of a double switch, but Soriano due to lead off the bottom of the 8th. Almost with a big cut at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Like Ian Desmond at second base is trying to convince the second base umpire Gary Darling that Samardzija balked out there. He was pointing toward Jeff, waved his arms real wide like, you can't let him do that. Jeff does get a little busy with his gloves sometimes after he comes to the set position right there. When he holds that position, occasionally that glove will wiggle a little bit, sometimes move up and down ever so slightly.
He has made it pretty clear that he still has the goal of being a starting pitcher. But at this point, he remains in the bullpen where he has, as Bob mentioned, started to thrive as Desmond will take third on a wild pitch.
buries that slider in the dirt over in that left-handed batter's box. Coy has done a nice job of blocking Ryan Dempster deliveries in the dirt today. Just couldn't corral that one.
Three and two with Alex Cora on deck.
And then getting back to your point about the Soriano playing left field, had he batted in the last inning, he probably would have been taken down in favor of Tony Campana, and the pitcher would have gone in Soriano's spot in the lineup. But when you think about it, you're here in the 8th inning anyway. Even if you put that pitcher in the spot that's currently held by Alfonso Soriano, you can pick your pinch hitter in the bottom half of the inning. Chances are if the score stays what it is now, or even if the Nationals happen to add one, you're going to see Sean Marshall and or Carlos Marmol to finish this ball game up.
And a big strikeout. Pitch was never in the strike zone. Splitter. Here comes Sean Marshall. It's the Toyota call to the pen. Cubs leading 4-1 in the 8th. At this point, the only guy left position player wise on the Nationals bench is Jesus Flores, the backup catcher, although Livan Hernandez can hit. I'm sure he's got his spikes on just in case.
Yeah, when you're playing with a 4-man bench, a couple of your starting pitchers probably have their cleats on today just in case you need a runner or a hitter.
Kerry Wood up in the pen.
Woody probably getting ready in the event we get to Danny Espinosa's spot in this Nationals lineup, a switch hitter who's much better from the right side of the plate. You would always prefer to get him up there as a left-handed hitter if possible. Hopefully it won't come to that.
1-2 to the pinch hitter Bixler. Make it 2-2.
Coy Hill is in full block mode behind the plate now. So you get that runner to third base in a close ball game. Your first concern after you give your sign to that pitcher is to make sure you're in a good position just in case that ball heads for the dirt, that you're ready to keep it in front.
Down the right field line, it's going to land foul in the bullpen.
And to that end, Len, in spring training, when the catchers do their blocking drills, maybe 1 out of every 4 or 5 tosses that you throw at the catcher, you throw it up there in the air to see if he stays in his crouch and frames the pitch well. Try to simulate what they're going to see during actual game action. Every pitch isn't going to be in the dirt. Some of them are going to be around the plate, but just as part of the blocking drill.
Broken bat grounder. Castro can't get him. It's an infield hit. The broken bat part of the equation slowed down that ground ball, and Castro's arm just not strong enough on that particular play to get him. So it's an RBI single. It's 4-2 in the tying runs at the plate.
That's one of those ones that Starlin caught flat-footed at shortstop. There's no rhythm on the play. You just have to rely on your throwing arm to try to get that ball across the infield quickly enough, because you haven't gotten your body into a good position with your feet so you can get some momentum into your throw.
The thing about that play is just the math. That's a key guy to get, because now the tying runs at the plate. And Ankia with a base hit. Cubs are no doubles. So everybody playing back. First and second. And Espinoza coming up, and he'll hit from the right side. Tyler Colvin will come in as part of a double switch, as Kerry Wood will replace Sean Marshall. Another Toyota call to the pen. It's like Colvin's coming in for Marlon Byrd, who made the final out of the 7th. 4-2 Cubs, but the Nationals rallying here in the 8th. Strikeouts by a Cubs reliever since they lowered the mound in 1969 is 8. Kyle Farnsworth and Juan Cruz. Farnsworth in 2001, Cruz in 2003, according to Elias.
Reed Johnson takes over in center field. Tyler Colvin will take over in right field. You talked about Woody. His last outing, the first game of this series, he came on in the 8th inning with the Cubs nursing a 3-1 lead and absolutely overpowered the middle of the Nationals order. Struck out Zimmerman, Morse, and Worth with ease.
So Espinosa back to the left side of the plate. A lot better right-handed this year. First and second, a run in. And a swing and a foul tip. Bixler at second. The tying runs at first. That's Rick Ankiel. And the 0-2. Foul left side out of play. Got him on the curveball. 7 consecutive Ks for Kerry Wood.
That is just such a nasty pitch. After seeing all the fastballs, you could see Espinosa was way out on his front foot expecting another heater. Kerry Wood drops that curveball right in there on the outer third of the plate for a called strike 3.
Good cutter.
I might see a lot of cutters in this at bat. We've talked about Zimmerman, how far away from the inside corner of the plate that he stands. You can throw something with some movement away from him on the outer part of the plate. You'll have a hard time getting to it. Not a strike, but a perfect location. That's exactly where he wants to throw that cutter. Started just inside of the outside corner with some movement away from the power hitting Zimmerman.
Four-seamer that time. And he got him on the heater for his 8th strikeout in a row. And he helps bail out Marshall here in the 8th. They get one. That's it. 4-2. Washington lineup currently, and again, we're late, but because of the bench situation, A.B. Johnson makes a double switch. He takes out Ryan Zimmerman as part of a double switch. So now your two best hitters are out. Morris, who left due to an injury after getting hit by a pitch, and now Zimmerman, as Todd Coffey will do the pitching. A slider in there for a strike. Let's put it this way, Davey hopes that 3 spot in the lineup does come up again, because it would most likely mean we're in extras.
It's a calculated risk to take one of your better players, better hitters out of the game. But the idea being that you don't think that spot is going to roll around again, and stay away from that pitcher spot.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
The Daily Doubleburger is back for a limited time at participating McDonald's for just $1.89.
Ball 1 to Barney. Ground ball to Ian Desmond. Want to see a Cubs game from the front row here at Wrigley Field? Now you can. Visit Cubs.com, click on the CBOE front row seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long. Don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com and check out the CBOE front row seats auction today. Cubs try to improve to 18-10 when Coy Hill starts. Diving stop by Nix. Coffey, though, can't handle the throw. So a half a play there by the Nationals defense.
A nice diving stop by Lance Nix at first base, and then he fires a knee-high bullet to Todd Coffey on the move over there to cover first base. Coffey looked like he took his eye off the ball as he was trying to find the bag. There's a nice diving play, but man, that is a tough toss for a pitcher to handle, running over to cover first base.
An error on Todd Coffey. Well, I could go one of two ways. I mean, it was a great play just to stop the ball in the first place. And as you said, a tough play for Coffey to make. dirt in his glove. There's the closer Marmol getting ready for the ninth. Three and 0 on Tyler Colvin, getting his first at bat today. Bell-tie fastball to make it 3-1.
Four previous plate appearances for Tyler Colvin against Todd Coffey. He's 1 for 2 with a home run and 2 walks. Tyler not known for his patience at the plate, but apparently sees the ball really well against Todd Coffey.
Desmond perfectly positioned, and he will beat Coy Hill to the bag. Almost a nasty collision there. We'll go to the ninth. Cubs lead by a pair. Outsiders take a trip down south to take on the Atlanta Braves. Bobby Cox night in Atlanta. Tune in to Chicago Tribune Live at 5:30 for pregame coverage. Don't miss Cubs and Braves tomorrow at 6:30 only on your home for Cubs baseball. Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend, lefty Mike Minor will go for the Braves as Carlos Marmol tries to get his 26th save. He's been a lot busier lately. The Cubs try to make it 9 out of their last 11.
Marmol with as much of a shutdown inning as you could possibly have to save that game last night. Struck out Worth, Gomes, and Desmond to end the ball game.
It'll be Gomes, Worth, and Nix. Gomes in because Michael Morris got hit by a pitch near the left elbow and exited in the 7th. Gomes pinch ran for him and stayed in to play left. Those numbers combined with the Reds and the Nationals. A former Red and now a National.
Now, Coy Hill dropped the first delivery from Carlos Marmol, but pitch tracks would tell you that the count is exactly the opposite of what it should be. It was 2-0 after those two pitches.
How did that one look?
0-4 right now. This one just on the edge, maybe half a ball off of the outside corner.
We talked about this before. Do you recalibrate if you're a pitcher and catcher? It's a strike 3-2. Throwing that pitch and not getting the call. You just hope he calls it at some point. The tying run will come up after the leadoff walk.
You could argue 4 was off the plate away, and certainly the last pitch 6 is off the plate away, but there's 4 other pitches in that at bat that were in the box.
Worth has struck out all 3 times. One pitch, ground ball, knocked down by Ramirez, but it'll be first and second, nobody out. That's a base hit.
First baseman Lance Hicks.
Now Nix. Should note the wind is still blowing in a little bit harder now from right. Nix is not going to change his game. He's still going to swing for Sheffield. Two and one. Cubs pen is quiet. Tyler Clippard might start throwing here for the Nationals momentarily, in case we get to the bottom of the ninth. 3-1. Just a little let's change the rhythm meeting as Hill and Pena will now head back to their respective spots. And they're loaded.
Bringing in Desmond to the plate, mentioned he was one of the batters that Marmol struck out in the ball game last night. However, it took about 10 or 12 pitches. Desmond really put together a good at bat before finally chasing a slider low and away to end the ball game.
Cubs pen is still quiet. This is really Marmol's game for this reason. You've already used Marshall, you've already used Wood, you've already used Samardzija. Now Ramon Ortiz is going to pick up a ball as Mark Riggins comes out. But honestly, Bob, I'd be really surprised if Ortiz enters the game with the Cubs still leading. I think he'd just be a bailout option if Marmol can't save it.
If this game goes in the wrong direction, it's common practice to go ahead and get your closer out of the game, save him some pitches so that ideally he'll be available, if not tomorrow night, then certainly Saturday in Atlanta.
Three on, nobody out. Here we go. Downstairs, ball one.
And now you're definitely not going to get the benefit of the doubt on a borderline call.
Our AT&T Uverse Multiview. Bases full of Nationals. Foul tip, strike one. Walking that high wire here today, trying to preserve a 2-run advantage. 2 walks and a single here in this inning. And the Nationals threatening big time, tying runners in scoring position. A 2-2 on the way, and Desmond got a piece of it. He thought he struck out.
I wondered what he was doing right there. Check swing, obviously got a piece of it, fouled it all the way back to the bricks, but then Desmond started to walk toward that first base dugout.
That's a really good late emergency swing on a slider.
Not always pretty, but it is effective. All you want to do is stay alive. That pitch is too close in Desmond's estimation to take. Just try to get a piece of it.
Swing and a miss. Huge. Now he's a ground ball away from a potential game-ending double play.
Very similar to the pitch that Desmond chased to end the ball game last night. A slider down low out of the zone.
Ramos with Bixler on deck.
And if you're looking for that double play grounder, this is the right guy to have at the plate. 12 double plays grounded into this season, far and away leading this Nationals team.
A 1-0 half swing.
Whoa. That's embarrassing.
One and two.
The slider that hung up inside there. Remarkably, Carlos Marmol gets the benefit of the doubt on that pitch.
Just inside that time, 2-2. High topper, and Ramirez has no play. 4-3. They're still loaded with one out. The Baltimore chop, as they call it. An infield single to knock in a run.
I think of a few other things to call that one, but we'll call it a Baltimore chop. Right off of home plate, gives it that trampoline bounce to the third base side. Ramirez was playing at double play depth. By the time he gets to that ball, no chance to make a play anywhere. He just pounded that ball straight down off of home plate.
Here's Bixler, who picked up an RBI single in the pinch in the 8th. Stayed in to play third. And fastball is in there for a strike. James Russell has joined Ortiz in the bullpen because you have Rick Ankiel, left-handed hitter, on deck. Here's the 0-1, almost hit him.
Marmol was so good with the slider earlier in the season. Then he went through that extended stretch where it was very flat, couldn't get any downward movement. Just inconsistent with that pitch today. He's thrown some really good sliders. He's thrown some really bad ones.
1-2. Storen and Clippard are the top two relievers. And he went 2 down, way off the plate. And Bixler couldn't help himself.
Well, you said it earlier, that pitch was never in the strike zone. Started off the plate away, moved further away and down. Bixler just could not check his swing. Big out.
Boy, what an escape job this would be. Bases loaded, nobody out. They have one in, but the Cubs still have the lead. Worth at third, representing that tying run, and it's Rick Ankiel with 2 outs. Ball 1. Well, it seemed as though, and of course Ramos picked up the infield hit, but Desmond, Ramos, and Bixler were all pretty anxious after Marmol had loaded the bases, and he took advantage. 2-0. Two and 1. Paid crowd today, 34,733 for this makeup tilt. And a high fly ball. Soriano didn't find it. Hopefully Reed Johnson will, and he makes the catch, and Marmol gets it done. Woo. Well, that was a nail biter, and the Cubs hold on, winning 4-3 to take 2 of 3 in this series. How he did it, I'm not quite sure, but he got it done.
No pictures, just numbers. Woo. With the slider on that outer third of the plate, looked like he was trying to pull it back to right field, just got under it. Still drove it all the way to the warning track in left center. As you mentioned, Soriano never saw that ball off the bat. Good thing Reed Johnson did.
Marmol relieved.